In this lecture, you will implement the builder pattern. To do that, go to the HTTP client class, get rid of this ugly constructor, and define a static class, public static class HTTP client builder. This builder class will have a copy of the fields which the original class will have, and later on we will be having a constructor that will copy over the HTTP client builder fields, the values of those fields, into the HTTP client instance. All that will come soon. First, we want to initialize the method. When we create an instance, we want to initialize the method, then the URL, then the username and password if security is present, then the headers, and then the body, depending on the requirements of the client. So public HTTP client builder. Every method here, except for the last one, returns HTTP client builder. First, we want to set the method. We can call that method method. The parameter it receives is a string, the method HTTP method. Inside it, you assign this dot method is equal to method that was passed in as a parameter. Return this. So every method assigns a value to the field and then it returns the current instance of the HTTP builder. This is for readability reasons. When you start writing your test in the next lecture, you will see how beautifully this will turn out. Next is the URL. We'll do it for one more and then we can copy over these methods. HTTP client builder. I want to initialize the URL in some cases or in most cases. This dot URL is equal to the URL that is passed in. Return this. Format it. Now we can copy this, paste it 4 more times. We have 4 more fields, but we only need 3 methods. One for security, next for headers, and the last one is for body. Go here, call this secure, and this guy will receive a username, comma, a string password. So whoever wants to use the HTTP client in a secure way will be using this method as well. Here we'll initialize the username with the username that came in as a parameter. Next, we'll also initialize the password. We don't need one method per field. Depending on the requirement and the context, we can use the same method to initialize multiple fields as well, and we give it a meaningful name. Secure is the name here. Scroll down. The next guy is the headers. Headers, the HTTP headers, if they want to initialize, they'll pass them here. We put them on the headers field. And the last one is the body, the HTTP method body. Call the method as body as well. And the field we want to initialize is body. So far we have created all the methods that will initialize the object, the HTTP client builder object, with all the values we pass in. The last one is where the magic happens. Public HTTP client is what this guy returns. Build is the method. This is the last method that will be invoked when we use the HTTP client builder to build a HTTP client. And this method won't take any parameters. It will simply return a new HTTP client object with a constructor that takes this. So we need to have a constructor on the HTTP client which takes the HTTP client builder as the parameter. Hit Control 1, create the constructor, select that option, create it. Now if you go up top, you will have that constructor defined for you right here. Control D, start assigning the fields. This dot method is equal to the HTTP client builder dot method. Similar way, we can assign all the other fields as well. Paste it 6 times. One more. So the second one is URL on the right. Third is username, password on the right. Next, headers on the right as well. Last is body. It seems to be a lot of work, but once we have this pattern in place, our code will be much more readable. So that's it. It's that simple to implement a builder pattern. You can have accessor methods to this. These fields don't need mutator methods, the setter methods. You can have them. Nobody is stopping you to have them. But usually, once we implement the builder pattern, we use the builder to create the object. So setters should not be necessary. And in the pattern, we usually don't put the setters, not in order to not confuse the end users or the clients. So you can right click, go to generate, source, generate, getters and setters. We'll get rid of the setter methods, select all. I want it after the HTTP client builder. At the end, generate the getters and setters, go to the end, and we can delete the setters. We don't need the setters. Getters are good enough if you want to access the data. So get rid of that. Get all the mutator methods, the setter methods out. That will complete the pattern for us. Take out set headers as well. Let's see if we have one more. Yeah, there we go. And also generate a toString for this, so that when we print the object in the next lecture, we can see the values that got built. Go to source, generate toString. Select all, generate it anywhere, doesn't matter, format it. So in this lecture, I have successfully created the builder pattern or implemented the builder pattern by creating a static inner class. Within that, you have a duplicate copy of the fields, and you have defined methods that will return the instance of the builder while initializing these fields one at a time or two at a time, depending on what makes sense. And at the end, you have a build method that returns a new instance of HTTP client based on the instance of the builder. We have used a constructor that copies the fields from the builder into the HTTP client.